All right, these examples are inequalities when there's variables on both sides. So when we do these, we still want to follow that steps. Don't call me after midnight. And that will help us do the right steps to get the correct answer. So my first step is distribute. There's no parentheses, so I'm done with that step. My next step, combine like terms. I look on my left, I have 4x and minus 6. I can't combine those because that has an x and this one doesn't. On my right side, I have 2x and I have 10. I can't combine those because this has an x and this one doesn't. So I'm done with that step. My next step is move over the variable. So I'm going to move my variable on the right over to the left. And the way I do that is I do the opposite of what it is. So this is a positive 2x. So the opposite of a positive 2x is a negative 2x. And I'm going to do that to cancel this out and leave me with just the 10 over here. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other side. So 4x minus 2x give me 2x. And I still have this minus 6. Notice I did not combine that negative 2x with that 6 because that 6 does not have a variable next to it, does not have an x next to it. So we cannot combine them. All right, so now I'm done moving my variables. My next step is add or subtract. So I always want to do the opposite. This is a minus 6. So the opposite of a minus 6 is a plus 6. And those are going to cancel out and leave me with 2x. Whatever I do to one side, I still have to do to the other side. 10 plus 6 will give me 16. And I'm done with add or subtract. All right, my final step is multiply or divide. I know when a number is next to a letter, that means multiply. So I have to do the opposite, and the opposite of multiply is divide. So I'm going to divide by 2 to leave me with x. I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. 16 divided by 2 will give me 8. I divided it by a positive 2, so my sign is going to stay the same. So this would be x is greater than or equal to 8. And that is my final answer for example 1. Example 2, I'm going to follow these exact same steps. Don't call me after midnight. All right, so my first step, distribute. I'm going to see if there's any parentheses, and there's not. So I'm done with that step. My next step is combine like terms. I can't combine anything on my left side because this is an x, this doesn't have an x. I can't combine anything on my right side because this has an x and this doesn't have an x. So I'm done with my combining like terms. My next step is move the variable over. So I want to move this one on the right over to the one on the left. So this is a negative x, so the opposite of a negative x is a positive x. And I want to do that to cancel these out and leave me with just 10. Whatever I do to one side, I want to do to the other side. X plus x, that gives me 2 x's. So it would be 2x. And I still have that minus 6. And I'm done moving my variables to one side. All right, my next step is add or subtract. I always do the opposite. So this says minus 6. The opposite of a minus 6 is a plus 6. And I do that to cancel those out and leave me with 2x. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other side. 10 plus 6 would give me 16. And I'm done with my adding and subtracting step. All right, my final step is multiply or divide. When a number is next to a letter, that means multiply, so I have to do the opposite, and the opposite of multiply is divide. So I'm going to divide by 2 to give me x, divide by 2 on the other side. 16 divided by 2 is 8. I divided it by a positive, so I keep my sign the same. So it'll be x is greater than or equal to 8. And that is my final answer.